And I'm like, fuck. And he said, you should be like disgusted in yourself. Basically was what he was like, get your shit sorted.
Welcome to the CEO Stylist podcast, where two unlikely CEOs come together and rewrite the narrative of what it means to be a CEO stylist. Yovanka, Loria and Kirsten Harris are on a mission, giving stylists permission to join the movement of artists breaking the mould of what is meant to be for the hair industry and creating the life and schedule of their dreams. Fast forward through many failed attempts and lessons learned in the process, it's time to level up the playing field. It's time to call BS on what's been done before. Yovanka and Kirsten are ready to share it all, defying the odds of the industry and teaching you how to do the same.
Hi, girlfriend.
Hi.
We're back.
How are you?
We're wearing the same outfit as the last potty.
We just don't change our clothes.
Oh, yeah, okay.
We just wear the same clothes.
Right. How are you?
Good.
Again.
How are you?
Great.
So we're recording back to back.
That's are recording back to back. So one of the things when in our debrief, we were talking about, wow, we're 3 months in to the year.
2024.
I feel like we've both kicked some goals, and we went, why don't we talk about that and create a theme where every quarter we're talking about what our lessons have been. So this podcast is dedicated to what our lessons are for quarter 1, 2024.
So.
It's my intro in
It's
a
your
very
intro.
long way. Do you want to kick it off?
I feel like this has been the longest year already.
And we're at the end of March.
And we're at the end of March.
I think it's gone fast.
It's gone so fast, but so much has happened.
Yeah, yes. So much has happened because you're so much more productive potentially.
Correct.
Yeah, that's right.
Now that I've come out the other end of it.
Bali was like a distant memory, us lying by the pool in Bali.
When was Bali? Oh my
I don't
God,
know.
January.
I don't know. I forgot.
It was right after New Year's.
Okay.
All right. Do you want to start with your lessons?
My lessons? What did I tell you my lessons were? Okay, so let's talk about that. I talk about Bali, in jokes aside. We did have a lovely holiday. And that was like really nice to lie by the pool and rest. And I was well and truly ready to come back. We had committed to doing a course, and I say we because it was you and I, back in August last year, which seems such a long way away. We went and did this course in February. And I really feel like for me, I took the brakes off and when I am very focused on what my goal is, which was a big shift for me professionally. I think like it shined the light on the fact that I've never really had a goal.
Because you're doing more to-do lists, right?
I had this to-do list, like tick, 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 tick. But it's like, where was this leading to? So that was a big shift for me. And I can say already, even though it's been a few weeks, that energy shift of going, what is my goal? And my goal is not what it could be for a mature business where they ultimately want to sell. My business is like 14 months old. I had a goal in mind, and the goal was to grow my client base by a number, by
a tangible
April,
number.
by a tangible number by April, and that was my focus. And so what that did for me was, my greatest lesson was having that goal in mind. It created less distraction.
I love that. Because like even what you said the other day, it was like I picked 2 goals and I just stuck with those 2 goals.
Just stuck with them and I've said no to more. Mm-hmm. I've said yes to some things, and then at the last minute I
have noticed.
I've bowed out, which is not my
it's
normal
not
style
normally
at all.
like you.
But I've had to go, where is my time best spent? Think about your goal. Are you working towards that goal? And I know we read these books about goal setting and all that, and I'm like always, I put that in the same bucket as budgeting. Hate that word.
Or motivation.
Motivation's got to come from within, right? But for me, it was like, okay, I've got a team. I've got responsibilities to a team. I want to get to a certain goal. I've had bad experiences in business. I don't want to be back there ever. So that's kind of like a self-motivator as well. But, that was my goal. So just sticking to 1 or 2 things, and it's there in front.
And I guess also, you saying we came back from Kerwin Ray. Do you think that particular course really helped kicked you over to where you wanted to be?
It did. It wasn't what I expected the course to be honest.
Was it? What did you expect?
I thought it was going to be about AI and marketing
and like tactical
plans that I can bring back from my marketing. And yes, that was all there, but there was a lot of mindset. There was a lot of mindset and there was
planning.
a lot of planning. So it was a bunch of business owners in a room, and really what solidified it for me was, well,
Why are you doing it?
I'm the only one in the way of getting to the next point. So how bad do you want it, Kirsten? Well, you've got to really knuckle in, because there's no magical fairy that's going to just make this happen.
And I'm actually really proud of you, because you told me yesterday you hadn't gone to the gym in 3 days.
4 days now.
Get out. And look
It's
at you. You're not crumbling.
Well, internally it's like really
Itching, but it's a big thing for you to be able to say.
So I have a PT every Friday. This morning I had to cancel him. I cancelled him at 4 a.m. because I was at my desk at 4 a.m. because I had a commitment to my clients and coming here and recording, and I went, I can't actually.
That's massive.
Yeah, so I don't know whether that was necessarily a good thing, but I had to be very focused on what my goals were, even today, and where my time is best spent. So it's been 4 days now.
And and I love that you're giving yourself the grace to have your top 3 buckets or top 2 buckets of what you're doing. And some weeks you're going to check this, check it off your list, and then the other week where you can put those other buckets in.
That's it. And I'm not advocating to sacrifice health, because you know me, I love
but it's
exercising.
a big thing. It's a big thing for you to be able to be okay with that.
It is. And I'm tired. There's no question about it. The goal is not like some magical fairy making this an easy pathway. My goal has been grit, and it's been hours. And that was the other big lesson I'd say out of Kerwin Ray, because you remember that night one, there was grit and there was the hours. And, when we were wrecked, we still had to keep going.
4 a.m.?
And then there's I know that that's all part of the conditioning. If you really want it, then you're going to fucking put in the hours.
That's right.
And that's what I've had to do in the last couple of weeks. Like if I want to get there and deliver to clients, then I have to show up. And that means I'm going to have to put in the time. So something's got to give. There's been other things that have probably given in my house that are unusual. Like if you walked in there today, and my cleaner would normally be there on a Friday, but she's coming tomorrow and she's going to get the shock of her life, because the house is like...
Clean or not clean?
No, not clean.
Not clean. And you're usually super organised.
Yeah, so that is and I haven't cooked this week. So I've got my meals, because I do sound like the selfish mother. So I've commissioned my kids to cook.
No, but I think what you're saying, it's actually unselfish, because you're also teaching them.
I'm teaching them all.
That's right.
Including my husband. They all need to cook one night a week each, and that's fine. They'll eat the food. I've got my food, and that's fine. We'll come together on the weekend. So I've definitely had to make some
shift.
Adjustments.
And look at you go. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
And you still look amazing, even though you didn't go to the gym for 4 days. I actually looked at you the other day and I said, you look thinner.
Oh.
And do you know what happens also as well? Because I know you connect your gym to keeping fit.
Yes.
But when you're internally fit and healthy, you don't carry emotional baggage.
That's it. And I really...
as much as well, because you're living, in authentic, you're living in such a good place.
True. Yeah.
Your energy's higher, apart from being tired, because you're physically doing all the hours.
Yeah.
But it's a different tide.
Yeah. And I noticed that because for me, I work from home. So I've got a home office. I've got access to a kitchen the whole time, and that's a blessing and a curse. But, I notice now that because I am so much busier, I'm not distracted by, I'll just make a cup of tea and I'll just get just have a little something. I'm not doing any of that.
Yeah, that's good.
So, and it's just coming.
Because you need to also keep up your energy.
Yeah. So So my next goal.
Yeah. What is your next goal?
To bring back my exercise, to stop being so flaky.
All right. What about?
It's only been this week.
What about? Could you maybe bring?
Sleep.
No, I was gonna. Could you maybe bring something at home? Like, could you? What's that Stairmaster or something?
I've got all of that.
Could you? Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Could you maybe then
I have
do
a gym
that?
at home.
Shut up.
I really do.
How did I not know that?
I don't know. I will invite you. I've got free tickets.
Please don't.
Free tickets.
I'm like, please don't. I'm like, you're too far.
Okay, so for me, that's an interesting, because, our last podcast, we were talking about teams. So this is a really interesting thing about gyms. I have a full gym at home. And we've got a beautiful treadmill and a cross trainer, and we've got a weights deck. But I got to a point where I went, well, I did that for a little while. I'm like, there's no fun doing this shit on your own.
Wow, interesting.
Even though when you go to a gym, you're not like
There you
hanging
go.
out with, I don't hang out with anyone. I certainly don't talk
But
to
it's
anyone.
still the energy of the room, and it
Yes.
motivates you when you see
'Cause
other
you're all
people.
exercising
it's so
together.
True. That's such a good point.
Yeah, so that's
get
why
it.
I go there.
I get it.
Yeah, and then on Fridays I have my PT, which I've had to bump to tomorrow morning. Which my penalty is, well, how 6 a.m. on Sunday morning suit you, Kirsten? I went, well, yeah, okay,
You're going to commit to it?
yeah, of course, yeah.
I love
So
that.
there. So
There you
did
go.
I answer the question about what my lessons were?
Yeah, no, that's good. And I think for you, I've seen the shift as well. And even with us, because usually we'd gas bag a little bit in the morning, and
No, we're not
you
doing
know,
that.
we're not doing that as much because we are committed. And I think also going to that Kerwin Ray just really solidified that top, what is our highest value, and also what is, like, we're not doing this for fun.
No.
And we're also seeing
it's fun.
It's fun, but we're not doing it for fun because now so many other people are benefiting from it.
Yes.
So that we have to show up in a different way, because this is not just about us. It's also benefiting so many other business owners and staff, and you hold yourself to a higher standard, and I think we can all let ourselves down.
Yes.
And in Kerwin Ray, remember, he had that accountable. He would always, if you're, whatever process you were doing, if you didn't do your homework, he would make you think that you were accountable to someone else.
Yeah,
because you're 10 times more inclined to finish the project or do something when someone else is holding you accountable.
Yeah. So true.
To it.
So do you want me to tell you what my goal is?
Tell me what your goal is.
And then
Absolutely.
we'll check in
Yes.
the next quarter.
And this is part of the podcast that we're holding ourselves.
So one of the things that, if you remember all the guest speakers in the room at that course we went to with Kermit and Ray, and one of them was an accountant.
Mm-hmm.
And, finance means very different things for many people. And today is my husband's birthday.
Happy birthday,
He's
James.
58.
He listens. He's our biggest fan.
And I don't know how many times I've said on the podcast, I'm turning 50. But that's like, you get to that moment, go, fuck, it's for real now. Like if it was shits and giggles before, it's for real. And we're getting to a point where it's like, oh, you're in the last decade or bit of your working life, which is really scary, because when you're in your 20s, you don't think about retirement. But it is a big conversation in our house right now, because it is, in the next 20 years, that's happening. Or in 20 years, I'd be 70.
And when people ask you in business rooms, they're like, what's your exit plan? And you're like, Moa.
Yeah, exactly, right?
What's an exit plan?
But now I'm having those conversations. So this morning before I came here, I had a commitment to a new accountant that I've had a conversation, and it was all around tax planning, retirement, what we're going to do in this next stage of life. And it's like, although he hasn't done anything yet, the fact that I've just made that step, because that's one of my goals, is to sort this shit out.
Figure it out. Have a plan.
Have a plan, because we don't have that plan. And I'm happy to say that. Like, it's very easy to be in business.
Given.
And that stuff, you just ignore that stuff. But I mean, we've got the basics, right? But it's like, we're now at the other stage. We've got our daughter that's finishing school, as you know, and we're no longer having to share our income with paying her expensive school fees. So things are going to ease up in one sense, but then one day we're not going to be earning money anymore. Then what?
We're going to set it up. It's so true.
So that's my
I
goal.
like that.
So my goal, and we'll check in next quarter, is to have our financial plan in place.
And when are you having, so the guy that spoke at Kerwin Ray, so you're having, is it like an order? Is that what he's doing
that's
with
right.
you?
So, and it's, it's funny because I'm in a startup business, really. So, it's like, well, he's got a little bit to work with. It's not too ugly.
But it's something, it's not even, and this is also someone, if someone is going out on their own, saying what you're saying, even when I started up, I didn't even know what the fuck a growth plan was.
No.
I didn't even know what a plan was. So if I had set up my business or my company correctly from the start, by asking those questions that you're asking now, would have saved, because we lost so much money in that transition. If you're going to set yourself up as a subcontractor, or you're going to set yourself up as a company. So it's really important, even on that scale of what you're saying, if anyone else out there is starting out, have those conversations, even in the beginning, of how you're going to set your business up.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other goal, and you can ask me in 3 months, is we're going to have a will, because I'm not too embarrassed to say, James and I don't have wills yet. And that's also come up in conversations. Like, that's a really shitty situation to be in, because I don't want my kids dealing with that.
Of course. Interesting that you haven't. Even after you did that, remember that confronting, what was that other business thing that you did?
Landmark?
Landmark.
No.
I
Because
remember
I
he
was
asked you that
young.
question and you had to call someone.
Of course.
What was that? Can you just...
I know, we'll talk, oh my God, that was massive. We'll talk, do you want me to share that
I just
now?
want to share that because that was...
Okay, so but that's different. Like, one of them was my time in Isogenics, where they had amazing, like, all those network marketing companies, they have access to some amazing people. So in that environment, this incredible global speaker, he was on stage and he said, who of you in the audience have got a will? And there was barely anyone that put their hand up. And I'm like, fuck. And he said, you should be like disgusted in yourself. Basically was what he was like, get your shit sorted. And even back then I didn't. He said, I know if I died tomorrow, my ex-wife could put her hands on my will and knew exactly what to do with it. And I thought, wow, that's really shameful.
No one thinks of that.
I didn't want to think about that. And I think it's the fact that, well, having a will means that you're dead. So that whole course that we did, though, we had to record a video as if we had died.
That's right. You're like, what the
Because
hell?
it was going to be connected to our will. Do you know what I did? And you had to do it in front of someone. So it's not like you sat in a dark room
What
and
did
did
you
it on
do?
your own. You actually had to have a partner record it. Like someone that you didn't know, sit there and record you saying it. It was really confronting. Well, when I got home, I deleted it. Well,
I was going to ask you, have you
relate.
kept it?
No, it doesn't
No?
relate to me. I'm fine. But now, like that whole
Sweep it under the rug.
50 number.
Interesting. So
I'm
even
like-
back then you knew about it. He brought it to you like, I'm not ready.
No.
Just going to park it.
No.
Yeah.
But now I am.
Now you're ready.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
So my husband's
love
just been
that.
talking about this shit for a while. I'm like, we've got plenty of time. And now I'm like,
But I feel like this is like, look how amazing you look. I just have to say at 50. Don't you feel amazing?
Yeah.
How different do you feel from 30 to 40 to now entering 50?
so someone asked, I was talking to someone the other day, I was mentoring, and he's in his 30s, he's got young kids, and I said, I remember that my 30s, I said, it's like the grind. Like, you know, you're trying to hold it together, rushing kids at school, you've got young kids, like broken sleep, trying to sort your shit out, trying to figure out what your career is, all of that. That's your 30s.
Trying to figure out who you are still.
Trying to figure out who you are. That's your 30s. Your 40s is like you just kind of, you know, you're
Settled.
testing some boundaries. And I think now I get closer to 50, you can't, it's true what they say about that.
Don't give a shit.
You couldn't give a shit what people think about you. It's that confidence, and you do come into your own. But the scary side of it is you are in that last decade and a bit of working. Like and then what?
And then what?
Yeah, so I don't want to be that useless 70-something in my
Got a
kid's
bingo.
life where my kids get off the phone and go, Jesus, Mum, like,
Get it
she's
together.
losing her.
She's losing her shit.
So in my head, I'm like, I want to be working when I'm 70. My
You
husband
just want
doesn't
to do
say
something
that.
that has purpose.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel good about it. Yeah, I feel good about the number, but it's also like it's
crunch time.
it's crunch time. It really
I agree.
is.
No, I love that.
There you go.
I love that.
Okay, enough about me. What
Okay.
about you?
enough about me. What do you think about me?
Yeah, what do you think?
I think you're amazing. And I truly wish that, you know, when I was younger in my 20s, 30s, I had someone like you back then.
God, we would have been dangerous.
Do you know, we would have really been dangerous. But
Yeah.
I guess the whole thing is it's never too late.
Never too
And
late.
I think this is the
Didn't
whole
I say
thing.
something like that before?
Yes, it's
Yeah.
never ever too late to recreate. That's your thing. We should get t-shirts made. Then a client the other day was like, yo, I love your sayings on the podcast. The best one is, what is that other one? Bless and release.
Bless and
I was
release.
like, there you go, you guys are paying attention. And I think also, you know, for us, we've been getting constant messages within the community, whether it's our clients, whether it's, you know, even the other day, and this is all leading back to what my lessons for the first part of the year.
Where you were going with this.
Is it just keeps proving to me that the amount of people that you think aren't listening that potentially could be listening to, that we're really helping other people, that, you know, even what we're saying with the topics, even if they're not tactical topics, I feel like from us having our meetings, we're like, do we speak more about tactical? But the receiving feedback that I'm getting is people are loving our real stories.
That's why reality TV is
Reality
successful.
TV is a thing, because tactical, you know, I feel like people can, get the tactical, but if you don't go work on yourself, it's like what Kerwin was saying about money. Most people that, you know, are just lucky with money and they earn millions of dollars, they end up being arseholes because money will amplify who you really are as a person. And if you haven't fixed who you are as a person, it's just going to amplify the arsehole
So true.
within you, right? And I think that is also a lesson. But I just want to say to all the other amazing stylists that have reached out in the last couple of weeks, and also other business owners in my field, in particular in hair, I've had, you know, companies that I looked up to when I first started reach out to me that I didn't even have a clue that they were following me, saying, you know, yo, I didn't want to reach out, but something compelled me to reach out. It was particularly the post that we did with Arnie about the process. What was it? The unseen process of starting a hairline. And this particular girl that was, I won't mention her name not to embarrass her, she's like, I've been in the game for 10 years and, you know, I really keep to myself. But I really wanted to reach out to say thank you so much for that podcast. I think you need to keep speaking the truth, because I think that's what has also been the biggest barrier for me, because I've always felt like I piss people off when I speak the truth.
Right.
You're going to offend someone when you speak the truth.
Yeah.
Right? So we're just going to keep being...
Am I to agree with you that yes, you do offend? Or
yeah, we do. And I think I offend?
Well, it depends. I think we all can. I've done it this week with someone that's close to me.
Here's the thing. If you're going to be part of our circle, go on, finish.
I was going to say, but is it passion or is it being offensive?
Passion. To me, it's
want
passion.
The best for people.
I want
in
the
your
best
circle.
for people.
Yeah.
And to me, I have this conversation with you because our circle is small, but I feel like it's grown in the last couple of years in a beautiful way. Whether it's clients, whether it's business owners, I don't feel what I used to feel, where I used to feel like, is it me? You know, am I the fucked up one? But now I don't feel that anymore, because I do feel like we've aligned with a lot more women in our circle who are very much like us. And I've always said to you, you could never offend me. Even working with, she's going to be on our podcast one day, but Sonia, who one of the girls, salon doctor that we met, hey Sonia, we love you, who we met at Kerwin Ray, she's come on to help us or help me in my business, and she's also one of your clients.
She's one of my new clients.
But she was giving me feedback, and she was like, can I give you feedback? You know, do you mind? And I was like, I just want you to know, when you come on to work with me, I fucking love critical feedback.
Yeah.
You're not, whether it's a friend or whether it's, you're not going to offend me by the truth. You're actually going to offend me if you lie to me and you don't tell me.
Yeah.
You know, if you're a real friend, and here's the thing, I think we've spoken about it in the past. There's a way to do it. I think, you know, you're not going to do it where you're going to embarrass someone, but when you know it's coming from a good place, you know that everyone needs that little bit kick up the arse.
Environment too.
Environment, yeah. Or sometimes we need that good kick up the arse that you might be in your ego, or you might be, you know, on a tangent that you don't see. But if you don't tell your friend from a good loving place, or your staff member from your good loving place, or even a client from a good loving place, how are they going to be able to adjust that behavior?
True.
Right? So my biggest lesson for this year, it really hit me on the head just only a couple of weeks ago. Actually, I've got 2 lessons. We're going to speak about this in another podcast, because this was another message that came through. One of them is hormones. One of them is hormones. I know.
What's your lesson with that though?
Well, that hormones are a thing, and they can really fuck you up.
Yeah. So what you're saying is acknowledging the fact that hormones exist, particularly in women. And it affects.
And I didn't realize how much, because we all have PMS. We all joke about it. I'm PMSing, which, you know, from even memory within myself, it lasts 2 days and then it passes. You know, even my daughter last night, like, I'm PMSing, but she was singing and I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, everything was irritating me. Amplified. And she's like, sorry, mummy, like, she's so cute. And then you feel so guilty. But we're really going to speak about it in another conversation, in another topic, because it really is a thing. And whether you're in your 20s, like Tegan, my salon coordinator, which I didn't even realize, she got diagnosed with a hormone imbalance in her 20s.
Wow.
Right, and she's been on that's why health is her highest value, right? And it's so important to her. You know, I've got 2 pregnant girls that are hormonal, and me, I feel like this year I started perimenopause, and lucky I was aware of it, because if you're not aware of it and you're not able to articulate it and communicate it, it can really be a massive decline in how you present yourself.
It's definitely an adjustment.
It's an adjustment.
From experience.
Well, you haven't hit.
Oh, I've been in perimenopause.
But I was going to say you haven't hit menopause.
I haven't hit menopause yet.
Correct.
Yeah.
But
And I'll keep my story for that
particular, but I really do want to open up because I sent it to you. I was like, look, it's it's funny how everyone's coming through because I'm asking what topics, they're all saying, I love this episode or I love that episode. I'm like, what is important? What's your pain point? Because I'm always asking, what are you going through?
Yeah.
And this came up with like hormones, perimenopause has fucked me. I've spoken about it. Even when I listened back to a couple of podcasts, I'm like, my train of thought, because we've been recording in afternoons, I'm like, by afternoons, I'm like munted, like a squash crab. So I thank God
so
we
your
did.
lesson is acknowledging them.
Well, acknowledging them, and then
it
I still need to do some work on finding out, and also being able to be a support to my pregnant staff, and not just me, because it rattles everyone else, because the way that you take information is different. You're going through 24 symptoms of you feel like crying 1 minute, then you feel like you're angry 1 minute. And then someone that's maybe a bit younger that's never experienced hormones are like, what the fuck is going on? Do you know what I mean? So it's just as women to understand that we're all going to go through it at some point, but to be able to help each other through it so we don't attack each other and we find ways to support.
And what's
So
your other lesson?
So my other lesson is just really remembering part of whether you're a business owner, part of life, part of whether you're working for someone, you're going to get setbacks.
Yep.
Right? So without the hard, you're not going to learn the lesson. And there's always going to be 10, 20% of setbacks, no matter where you are in your stage, whether you're at the beginning, middle, or end.
But it's I guess it's how those setbacks define you.
It's how those set. And here's the biggest lesson that happened to me, because when I was going through the setbacks, add a little bit of, hormones to it, and I couldn't see the opportunities on the side. I almost forgot the 80% of the amazing magical things that we've been able to create. It's very, very easy to spiral and to lose sight of it, right? And even when I was babbling and crying on the last podcast, because I was like, I almost questioned myself whether I could keep going. Do you know what I mean? And I hear it a lot of the time with other, whether they have kids, because at the beginning of the stage of the kids, they're really in a different mindset to when your kids are maybe at school.
Yeah.
And you're ready to start, maybe getting back out there and start doing your thing. Because for the first few years, you're also going through, how many times do we hear it? You're potentially going through postnatal.
The grind
of being, being a young mum and mum guilt. Like it's a constant struggle no matter where you're at. But I just want to encourage people, no matter where you are, always remember that 10% struggle that you're going through is there for a reason. But just don't sit in it for too long, because then, like me, when things started to fall apart, well, not fall apart, but in my mind I was like, what's happening? I didn't expect it to be so one thing after another to snowball. I was almost questioning and not being able to see.
And what do they say? Things happening for you, not to you.
Not to you.
And when I read that the first time, it does make a very big energy shift in pulling yourself out of that mundane, I'm in a shitstorm. And whether or not people believe this or not, the universe only gives you, delivers up what you can handle.
That's right.
And and you wonder, like, all these shitty stories, and you go, how is it possible that all this bad shit can happen to one person?
It's true.
And there's even always like that silver lining that comes out of it.
And even Kerwin Ray, he was the biggest thing. That's why when he interviews people, his thing, he wants to find out how they were able to rise through the hard, the challenges. Because we all have challenges, but it's how you come out. How you come out from the other side. And I think for me as well, because I don't quit. I'm not a quitter.
But you're coming out the other side.
Coming out the other side, and it's all great and it's all positive, and even from it, the miracles that still keep happening. Because I wasn't even, everyone kept asking me, are you going to be looking for other stuff? And I was like, no, I wasn't even ready. I was like, I just wanted to wrap myself in a bubble and not put myself out there, to be able to put myself in a position to kind of be not open to it, but you saw what happened. I have to say, I've just employed a second senior that's come on, that reached out to us at the right time, that I wasn't even looking for it. So I think also the right thing will come at the right time, and also take your fucking vitamins.
Or hormones.
Or hormone.
Happy hormones.
Well, I took my happy
You're
hormones.
advocating a brand, like you are taking happy
But I was
hormones.
taking my vitamins. I made proactive choices in order not to sit in there no matter how bad I was feeling.
God, all the women that are listening to this podcast are about to get happy hormone ads in their feed.
I think it's is it Happy Mammoth or something?
Happy Mammoth.
Happy
There we
Mammoth.
go.
And they
Check
really,
your phones, girls.
I've already sent them to a couple of people.
Well, you don't even need to. Like, they have the most wicked marketing machine. Because
They
I
really
remember when
do.
they first launched, actually, I'm segregating here, but and it was up. They had a really good marketing machine on socials, and then it kind of died off. But then a friend of mine offered me hers. Sounds like a drug deal. Like, she couldn't take them because she's got HRT, and she said, I can't take
You
both.
can't have both.
So I haven't taken her up on that yet, but and then, you know, someone that, you know, presented them to you and suddenly I'm seeing them back on socials. I'm like, there's no coincidence about this. They've got, you know, their special forces that it kind of like it's in your feed. So anyone that's in that, I guess, that bandwidth now, they'll probably get happy hormones in there.
Actually, Facebook is listening to us right
That's
now.
what I'm saying.
They hear you. They're coming
Okay,
for
so
you.
what's your goal then?
So my goal is, I've got so much happening this year.
Just choose one. No, this is like a goal that you're going to achieve in the next 3 months. So.
I think my goal is also, now that I've got the team back on track for the salon, is also keep our education. Our education is expanding and growing. And we have a few exciting collaborations in the works, which I can't share just yet. But we are revamping our website and revamping our online education as well, and just really focusing. That's probably my biggest goal for this year, and just getting through the year.
So your goal in the next 3 months, you're going to release some more education dates.
We're going to be releasing some more education dates, which I can say we've got one happening in June. We'll be doing our next one in Sydney.
So exciting.
So that is a goal.
And Melbourne will be around the corner.
Melbourne will be around the corner. Yes, Liv and I are also cooking up some education.
And I really think we need to send you to Queensland.
Yes, eventually.
Gold Coast.
Gold Coast.
Yeah.
So we had our first
Or
Gold
Brisbane.
Coast stockers. Stylist come on, so she's going to be phenomenal. But that's essentially what we'll be working on. So that's good stuff.
Well, let's check out. So in 3 months from now, let's
check out. I'll be in Sydney.
That's going to be in the financial year.
That's right.
I'll find you.
Fun.
Yeah.
So do you
Alright.
like my goals? And do you
Love
like my
that.
lessons?
Yeah, love your
Yeah.
lessons. Well, I think we're going to dedicate a podcast to talking about hormones, not so happy hormones.
Not so happy hormones.
I feel like I can contribute quite a lot to that topic.
I think we can. It doesn't just happen to women that are in their mid-40s to
No.
50s. Clearly, it's also happening, you know, whether you're pregnant or
trying to have a baby.
Trying to
I've
have
got
a baby.
clients that are, you know, it's all stressful at every point. So, yeah.
lessons all around people. Hope
Alright.
you've learnt something, and don't scream at us when you want to give us some feedback about maybe acting a bit crazy. Just tell us nicely.
What we were going to talk about, though, at the end of the podcast was what our announcement was, talking about hormones
And lessons.
And lessons. We nearly forgot. Little goldfish. So I think we're having a bout of recorder's fatigue. And we had a big conversation last week with our team, because we do have a team. We're very, very fortunate that we sit here and we
can't
record
do it all on our own.
but we have this amazing team and there is a lot of work. Anyone that wants to put a podcast together,
Come and
please
speak
come
to
and
us.
talk to us, because we by no means pull this together. So we're very, very lucky.
Nor did we know how much what it takes to pull it together.
Yeah, it's a lot. Even with having that guy, like, it's massive. But we have got to the point where we have a bit of recorder's fatigue, and we don't want to sound boring and mundane and start talking about the same shit that we potentially have spoken about in another podcast. So
And they're like, wait, what did we speak about last week? So
we've decided to change it up a bit with our recording schedule.
we have. It's only fortnightly.
Yeah.
instead of weekly, so it's not too bad.
So we're going to still Tuesday drops, but instead of it being a weekly drop, now it's going to be a fortnightly drop.
Correct.
But the good news is we have talked about bringing more guests on.
We are.
So
are
we've got a
bringing more
list.
guests. We do have a list.
We've got a wait list.
And I think also as well, because you do travel quite far to get here, so it's not easy. We're both getting busier. This year's going to be hectic.
I think people listening to this in Melbourne and Sydney might go,
Really? That's true.
Adelaide.
That's true. I can't even get to my lounge room on time. You can't get to your office on time. But you do. You make a big effort to come here. So I think this is just going to free us up and our team to be a little bit more productive on our goals of what we want to work for, because it's also taking up their time.
Yeah.
And we are just going to course correct. And this is part of business and life. It's all right to be able to, course correct. If something's working, it's not working. And we still love doing this. We're not going to show up.
No, we just want to deliver quality over quantity.
That's true.
And so for those listening, if you've got any podcast ideas, throw them our way, or any people that you think that you would love to hear for us to interview on the podcast, we would love your input.
That's right. So,
all right.
I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Take care.
Take care. I'll catch you around.